So I think already we have started a problem based on direct inspection method of determination of fibers, formation of fibers. Now again I am going to discuss that problem in this class also. Please just go through this. So I think my screen is visible to you. Okay, right. Now you please go through the problem. So this is the problem what I have given you in the last class, right? Now you see here. So form fibers for the following system. So this is a given problem. And in this particular case, I have drawn two networks. First one is impedance network that what he has given. And in order to determine or in order to form fibers, so definitely we must consider that admittance network. That means all the impedances have been replaced by an admittances, right? Now this is the given problem. So for this problem, you are asked to determine or you are asked to form fibers. Now just simply I have replaced all the impedances with the admittances. Now observe the difference here. So 1 by j1 that will use you minus j1, 1 by j.4 that will use you minus j2.5, minus j1.25, minus j5, minus j5, minus j12.5. So here you will have total 4 buses. Is it audible? Is my voice is audible? Ganesh, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So first of all, this is the very important point you need to remember. And first, you have to analyze whether the given values are impedance values or admittance values. Always, the admittances have been given as minus j something. That minus j. Why? Because 1 by j means obviously you will get minus j only, right? So first of all, you have to convert the impedances to admittance network. Later, I think we will have total 4 buses: bus number 1, bus number 2, and bus number 3, bus number 4. That means, so based on the number of buses, you will get the number of algebraic equations. That is very important here, right? So the total y bus is of size 4 by 4 you will get. So at the end of this problem, you will find the Vibus matrix size is equal to 4 by 4. That means indirectly I am saying that you will get 4 algebraic equations. Okay. Now I am applying KCL at bus number 1. So according to KCL, the number of incoming currents are is equal to the number of outgoing currents. Suppose if you are considering bus number 1, how many incoming currents are there? So incoming current is only I1. Now, how many outgoing currents are there? So you will have total 2 outgoing currents. Why? Because there are 2 paths. The first one is this one, second one is this one. So how do we find the total outgoing currents? That is also very, very important. So according to that, first of all, I am going to write down here. So I1 is equal to I1 is equal to sum of 2 outgoing currents. See, bus number 1 voltage is given by V1 minus V2 multiplied by YV. So please do remember that I is equal to YV. Already we know this. Already we know this. So I is equal to Y into V. So according to this, I1 is equal to V1 minus V2 into, now what is I here? So sorry, Y here, J, so J 2.5, right? So J 2.5. So this is the first current, first outgoing current. Now coming to the second outgoing current. Second outgoing current is, see here we are starting with bus number 1. So that's why always I am considering V1 as positive and bus number 2 is a negative second bus. So obviously I can consider it as minus V2. So simply in this case also I am getting V1 minus V3, right? V1 minus V3 and also you will have one more term, that is minus J5 minus J5. Okay, so please do remember that already you will have one more admittance term is there. one more admittance term is there. Obviously, this is also connected to bus number 1. This is also connected to bus number 1. So obviously, I can consider it as V1 into, so plus V1 into minus J5 minus J5. Now you see here. So just now I have written all the terms, incoming currents, some of the incoming currents and outgoing currents, etc. Okay, incoming currents and the outgoing. So if you are getting some confusion, means obviously you can replace this with the, now you see here, admittance is connected in parallel with this. Now this has been connected to bus number 1. So now you see here V1 into minus J. So I can separate all the terms which contains V1 here. So minus J1. See here, this is minus J1. V1 into minus J1 plus, minus V1 into J2.5. So J1, J2.5, J.5. So in the last class, already we have deduced some expressions related to the Y bus, I bus, and V bus. There we have assumed that Y11 is nothing but the self admittance. So how do you get the self admittance? If you add all the admittances which have been connected to bus number 1, you will get the self admittance. What is the mutual admittance? The admittance which is connected in between ith bus and jth bus. That means Yij. So Yij or Y12, you can consider this as minus Y12. So what is the difference between this one and this one? Obviously, you don't have any negative sign here. But whereas in the case of mutual admittance, you will have negative sign here. That is the only difference. So directly we are adding all the admittances which have been connected to the bus number 1. So this is the, please try to understand the name, direct inspection method. What do you mean by direct inspection method? Just now just we take a look out of that particular network. Obviously we can able to write the algebraic equations. Okay, now just you forget about that. First of all, do familiarize how to write directly the admittances. Just now I will tell you, please wait. Just wait a moment. Now you see here, suppose if the network is directly given, so how to write the algebraic equations just with the use of direct inspection method. Now I will tell you, just carefully observe this. So the first algebraic equation, or the bus number 1, incoming current is equal to I1 is equal to, so first one is Y11. Please compare it with the generalized form, V1 plus Y12 V2 plus Y13 V3. So whenever you are going to write down the first algebraic equation, so this is the generalized form that you need to keep in your mind. So how do we obtain Y11? So Y11 is nothing but a self admittance. That means you need to add without any change in the sign. You need to add all the admittances which have been connected to bus number 1. Now you take a look at this. So Y11 can be obtained as, so if I consider this bus number 1, this is a direct, this is the best advantage of direct inspection method over singular transformation. Okay, so that's why you don't get confused. So directly by using direct inspection method, how can we write the algebraic equations, that I am going to explain you now, right? So this is the generalized form you should remember. So just you forget about V1, V2, V3. Why? Because you will have only, so you will also have one more, why? Because you will also have one more bus here, Y14 into V4. Y14 into V4. So this is the generalized expression you should remember before going to start with the first algebraic equation. So what is Y11? So Y11 can be obtained by adding all the admittances which have been connected to bus number 1. Now you take a look at this. How many admittances have been connected to bus number 1? So first one is minus J1, second one is minus J2.5, minus J.5. So first of all, you need to add all those terms. So minus J1 minus, see, I am not going to change the sign. I am considering the sign as it is. So minus j 2.5, similarly minus j5 into v1. Now what is y12? What is y12? So here, just you remember that for simplicity, I am going to consider capital Y letters here. So plus capital Y12. Why? Because this is the admittance. Capital Y13, capital Y14. Why I am writing capital Y? So Y bus is always having the capital letters, not small letters. So Y11 can be obtained by adding all the admittances. So here 3 admittances have been connected to bus number 1. So similarly Y12. What is the admittance? What is the admittance between admittance which is connected between bus number 1 and bus number 2? So minus j 2.5, but that is minus minus y12. Okay, so obviously capital Y12 is equal to minus y12. That means you will get only positive sign here. Just do remember that j 2.5 into v2. Now what is the next one? So except the self admittances, you need to consider the reverse sign for all mutual admittances. Mutual admittances. Mutual admittance is nothing but admittance connected between the ith bus and jth bus. That is the mutual admittance. Okay. So, but while calculating the self admittances, I'm not going to change the sign of that particular admittance, right? So here j 2.5 into v2 plus j5 into v3. Now tell me, do you have any connection between bus number 1 and bus number 4? No, there is no connection between bus number 1 and bus number 4. Obviously, there is no impedance, admittance 0 into V4. Obviously, you will get 0. So that's why I'm not going to write down that particular last one. Now you compare this equation and this one. Just now we have written. So Y11 can be obtained by adding all the self admittances connected to bus number 1. Similarly, now obtain the admittance connected between bus number 1 and 2. Obtain the admittance connected between bus number 1 and 3. Okay. Now, simply you can determine the second equation also. Now you calculate the second equation. So second equation is just nothing but I2. So here the first term is Y21. Please do remember Y21 V1 plus Y22 V2. Likewise, so just now we have seen that the generalized expression for I1 is equal to for a 4 bus system, I1 is equal to Y11 into V1 plus Y12 into V2 plus Y13 into V3 plus Y14 into V4. Similarly, I2 is equal to Y21 into V1 plus Y22 into V2 plus Y23 into V3 plus Y24 into V4. Now our intention is clearly to calculate what is the value for Y21, Y22, Y23, Y24. So what is Y21 here? Now you just go through the figure. What is Y21? So Y21 is nothing but the admittance connected between the first bus and the second bus. That means that is mutual admittance that belongs to bus number 1. Similarly, bus number 2. So for that purpose, I am considering this minus j 2.5 as a j 2.5. j 2.5. Now, what is Y22? So without changing the sign of that admittance, first of all, you need to add all the admittances have been connected to bus number 25. So now you see here. So bus number 2, this is a bus number 2. The first one is minus 1.25, minus 2.5, minus 5. So minus 5 minus 7.5, 7.5 and 1.25, obviously 8.75 or 8.5. So 8.75, I think so. 8.75, I think so. So Y22 is equal to minus j 8.75. Now please verify whether you are getting the correct answers or not. So J 2.5 correct, minus J 8.75 is also correct. And you will also have Y23, that is admittance, mutual admittance connected between bus number 2 and bus number 3. So that is already given J5. And you don't have any admittance directly connected between bus number 2 and bus number 4. So that's why obviously the term is equal to 0. So likewise, we are going to get the self admittances and mutual admittances for the given network. So finally, I'm going to show you the answer. You please go through that. Okay, and you just verify your answer with my answer. Okay, if any variations are occurring, please inform me the same. Now I will show you the final answer. Now please go through this. So after obtaining all the 4 algebraic equations, I am going to write down, see, equation 1 to 4 means, so here I have taken this as equation number 1, equation number 2, and equation number 3, equation number 4. So by writing all the algebraic equations in a matrix form, obviously you will get a I bus is equal to y bus into v bus. So this is y11, y12, y13, y14. Okay. Similarly, y21, y22, y23, y24, y31, y32, y33, y34, y41, y42, y43, and y44. Now, if you clearly observe this, y14 is equal to y41. Is it not? Y24 is equal to y42. Similarly, what is y13? J5. What is y31? J5. Okay. See, that is the mutual admittance which belongs to bus number 1, similarly bus number 2. Most of the times you will have y12 is equal to y21, y13 is equal to y31, y14 is equal to y4. Okay, y13, y14 are equal. Just wait a minute. y13 is equal to y31, y14 is equal to y41, y23 is equal to y32, y31 is equal to y13, etc. Okay, so this is the best example. Now these two are equal. Now you see here y12, y21, y13, y31, y14, y41, y24, y42, y23, y32. Okay, so likewise you will have equal value. So you do not find all the admittances. Suppose if it is a 4 by 4, it is not necessarily to find all the parameters. Why? Because if you find y11 and y22, y33, y44, etc. up to yn, obviously that is the only difficult part. The remaining are, if you find y21, obviously that will be equal to y12. If you find y41, obviously that will be equal to y4, y14. Okay. Now please make a note and note down this answer. Now we are going to, so with this we are going to conclude chapter number 1. Now we are going to move for the next chapter, that is load flow or power flow analysis. So we are going to complete the introduction part today, and in brief we are discussing that chapter in tomorrow's class, right? Please note down the answer. Please note down the answer. Chapter number 2. Chapter number 2 is load flow or power flow studies or load flow analysis. You can also consider that as a load flow analysis. Just we are going to discuss what is the necessity of studying the load flow analysis or power flow analysis or power flow studies in the power systems. So, okay, now we are going to discuss about, just we are introducing this particular topic. Do remember that sometimes I can call that as a load flow, or sometimes I can also consider that as a power flow. But in your syllabus, you are having the power flow studies, right? Okay, now what is the importance? So before starting of any new chapter or any new topic, first of all, you people have to think that how that particular topic is useful for our regular applications, or where do we find the applications of that particular chapter or that particular content or that particular topic. Okay, whatever it may be, anything that is new to you, first of all you have to think in that way. Okay, so likewise in this particular case also, load flow or power flow study. So what is the importance of having this particular chapter in this power system analysis? Okay, the first and very important point to be noted here is the planning of operation of the power system under existing conditions, and also for future expansions we require the load flow studies. That means in order to expand, see already we are having some knowledge regarding the power stations. Okay, so I want to tell you one simple example. So previously 500, suppose if your power system contains 500 megawatts capacity. Okay, so just forget about that. You take Vijayawada, NTDPS, Narla Katarao Thermal Power Station, Vijayawada. Already stage 3, so up to 500 megawatts, already the power plant is existing. But 3 or 4 years back or 5 years back, a new power plant, that means the power plant has been extended to 750 megawatts. That means a new 250 megawatts capacity plants has been constructed, and which is now operated in parallel with the existing power system. That means we are not going to install a new power system, just we are expanding. So in general, in order to understand this particular topic in clear, suppose if I have started, if I am an ex-person, I want to start my new business at somewhere else, some Eluru. Okay, suppose 3 to 4 years or after 5 years, if my business is too good, obviously, so I need to expand my business just by incorporating some additional features, some additional fees. Suppose if I have started a new cloth showroom, initially that contains only the ready-mades, particularly belongs to men's, not for women. So suppose if my business has been too good, obviously the profit is also very highly appreciated. I can extend my business to another stage. That means another level. That means I'm also going to start and I am also going to include women's clothes also, ready-mades. Okay, so ready-made. So obviously, initially I have started with men's. After that, already I have expanded my business by considering women clothes also taken into account. After 10 years, if that business is too good, obviously the profit is also very good. Or I can extend that to kids also. So this is just like that, just like same as that of the power system. See, obviously, every time you are relating the generalized examples to the regular, present power systems. Okay, to analyze that system in simple way. అర్థమైంది కదండి. ఏం లేదు, ఇప్పుడు నా బిజినెస్ కొత్త బిజినెస్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నాను. కొత్త బిజినెస్ అంటే ఒక క్లోత్ షోరూమ్ పెట్టుకున్నాను. ఒక 5 years వరకు బాగా రన్ అయింది, ప్రాఫిట్స్ కూడా చాలా అప్రిషియేటెడ్గా ఉన్నాయి ఇవన్నీ కూడా. ఓకే, సి అలాంటి సిచ్యువేషన్స్లో నేనేం చేస్తూ ఉంటానంటే 5 years తర్వాత ఆబ్వియస్లీ నా బిజినెస్ నేను ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేసుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నాను. ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేసుకోవాలంటే ఏం చేస్తూ ఉన్నాను, ఎడిషనల్గా ఆ జెంట్స్తో పాటు లేడీస్ క్లోత్ షోరూమ్ కూడా పెట్టుకున్నాను. ఓకే, సో లేడీస్ క్లోత్ షోరూమ్ కూడా పెట్టుకున్నాను కాబట్టి ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఏమైంది, బిజినెస్ ఇంకా డెవలప్ అయింది. సో డెవలప్ అయిన బిజినెస్ని ఇంకా నేను డెవలప్ చేయాలంటే ఇంకో 2 to 3 years or 4 years సో 2 to 3 years or 4 years నేను ఏం చేస్తున్నానంటే నెక్స్ట్ కిడ్స్ ది షోరూమ్ కూడా పెట్టుకున్నాను. సో ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఏంటంటే ఉన్న బిజినెస్ నేనేమి కొత్తగా స్టార్ట్ చేయడం లేదు. సో ఆల్రెడీ ఫస్ట్ ఫ్లోర్లో ఇది ఉంది, సెకండ్ ఫ్లోర్లో అది, థర్డ్ ఫ్లోర్లో అది, అలా బిజినెస్ని నేను ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేసుకుంటున్నాను తప్ప ప్రతిసారి కూడా కొత్త బిజినెస్ నేను స్టార్ట్ చేయడం లేదు. So similarly, in the case of power systems also, if you are considering a existing power system, obviously I can expand that power system, or I can extend the power system to a new capacity. That means 500 megawatts is already existing, and additionally I'm going to introduce 250 megawatts, and that too in parallel with the existing power system. That means the total installed capacity now is 750 megawatts. So how do we expand that power system to a new one? So that requires the load flows. That means you need to clearly understand what is the real power and reactive power at a particular bus, ith bus. So you may have total n number of buses. Okay, we do not know the count. Okay, we do not know the count. So we will have total n number of buses are there. So at each and every bus, you must identify what is the real power, what is the reactive power, what is the voltage, what is the current that is trying to flow from that bus. So based on that only we can expand. That means we are going to estimate the load which is going to be added in future. Suppose if you are considering this situation, if I am considering 10 kilowatts load has been connected to my house, let us assume, this is just an example, if 10 kilowatts load is there, now in future I need to construct one more floor, and for that particular floor I am going to have 2 kilowatts additional load that has been additionally taken from the grid itself. That means in future there may be a chance of having improvement in the load. So day by day the demand is going to be raised or increased. సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ ఐ ఇనీషియల్గా నేను ఒక ఏసీ పెట్టుకున్నానండి, ఒక ఏసీ పెట్టుకున్నాను ఒక రూమ్. సో సార్ నాకు 3 bedroom ఫ్లాట్ ఉంది. సో ఒక బెడ్రూమ్లో ఒక ఏసీ పెట్టుకున్నాను. ఆబ్వియస్లీ 2 bedrooms ఏసీ లేవు. కానీ రేపు అన్న రోజున ఏం చేస్తాను, ఏసీ 2 rooms అంటే 2 bedrooms కూడా అంటే 3 bedrooms 3 ఏసీస్ ఉంటాయి. అవి సరిపోవు. హాల్లో కూడా నేను ఏసీ పెట్టుకోవాలి. అంటే ఏంటి, డిమాండ్ అనేది ఎవ్రీ టైం పెరుగుతుంది తప్ప తగ్గేది కాదు. సి డిమాండ్ ఈజ్ కీప్ ఆన్ ఇంక్రీజింగ్ డే బై డే. We did not know what is the load. So that is why you need to expand your power system based on by keeping that demand in future. That is a predicted demand in future. So రేపు పొద్దున డిమాండ్ ఎంత ఉండబోతుంది అనేది ఇప్పుడు నేను ప్రెడిక్ట్ చేసుకుని ఆబ్వియస్లీ నా పవర్ సిస్టమ్ని నేను ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేసుకోవాలి. That is the only thing that will be helpful in our power system analysis. So this is the very important advantage of load flow analysis, right? So అందుకోసమే load flow studies ని మనం future expansion కోసం కన్సిడర్ చేసుకుంటాం. So along with the load flows, you are also having short circuit studies and stability studies are also very important. ఓకే, ఒక పవర్ సిస్టమ్ని నేను ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేయాలి అనుకున్నట్లయితే నాకు లోడ్ ఫ్లోతో పాటు షార్ట్ సర్క్యూట్ స్టడీస్ అలాగే స్టెబిలిటీ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ కూడా నేను అనలైజ్ చేయగలుగుతున్నాను. సి బేసికల్లీ లోడ్ ఫ్లో ఈజ్ ఏ ప్రాబ్లం అంటే అది చెప్పాను కదండి. ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఇన్ ద సెన్స్ వీ డు నాట్ నో వాట్ ఈస్ ద ఫ్యూచర్ డిమాండ్. సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దట్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ఇంక్రీజ్ ది కెపాసిటీ ఆఫ్ ద పవర్ సిస్టమ్ by expanding based on the existing conditions. Okay, see, load flow studies are also very important for planning, controlling and operation of existing power systems for future additions. Please try to understand my flow. Okay, the basic necessity or the basic importance of having load flow studies is to plan or control or operation of the existing power systems for future expansions. Now, what is the information you are getting from the load flows? Okay, sir, you told us a very important point. That means this is a very important for having a proper control of power system which will be extended in future. Okay, so okay, well and good. Now, what is the information you are getting by doing load flow analysis? See, the very important point you need to remember here is you are going to get the real power, you are going to get the reactive power, voltage, phase angles, currents at a particular bus. Now, how many? If I asked you how many, tell me how many buses are included in your power system, means you do not know. We do not know. But later we are going to classify the buses. So based on the classification, we are going to analyze how many buses are there and how many buses are categorized into how many. Category is also very important. So here we are also having three important categories. So even though if you have infinite number of buses, all those infinite number of buses are comes under these three categories only. That we will do. We will analyze that in next class. Okay, but it is also very important to have the information why we are using load flows analysis and power flow analysis. See, load flow studies are also help us to determine the best locality or optimal capacity of the proposed generating station or substation or a transmission line. See, what is the necessity of having this load flow studies, particularly in this power system, in order to reduce the transmission line losses, okay, and also to improve the system stability, okay, in order to reduce the transmission line losses and also to improve the stability of the power system, we require the information regarding the load flows at particular bus, at a particular bus. Sir, till now I think you will have some doubt. Sir, till now you are every time talking about bus. Now what is bus? What is bus? So bus is nothing but an electrical node where all the generating, all the units, loads, transmission lines are connected, and which are not necessarily be connected. But here, electrical node or bus, both are equal. There is no big difference between these 2 points, right? So electrical bus or node, we also very, very important. And see, just now I told you the definition, basic definition of electrical bus or node. See, electrical bus or node is nothing but one or many loads or generators are connected to that particular point. Okay, to have the constant voltage and constant frequencies, etc., etc. So, what is the information you are going to get from the load flows? So, VI, delta I, PI, QI. So suppose if I consider ith bus where I is varying from 1 to n, 1, 2, 3 and up to n. Now these are the 4 electrical parameters information that you are going to get from the load flow by doing the load flow analysis or power flow analysis. Now what is VI? The ith bus voltage. What is the angle, phase angle? That is given by delta I. So phase angle at ith bus. What is PI? The real power at ith bus. What is QI? The reactive power at ith bus. So these are the important information or important parameters that are particularly obtained by doing the all computer simulation programs. That means Gauss-Seidel method. See, we are going to use 4 methods, computer simulation methods, for determining the why, because we don't know how many iterations it may take to give the proper values at the particular bus. Okay, in sometimes 10 iterations you will get the value, but it may, later most of the times it may take 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, whatever. We are not going to calculate all those iterations. See, just we are going to write down the computer program and we are going to simulate the program, and the program, a computer will take care of all the things and it will produce a final result. So this may take 20 iterations. Now at the 20th iteration, the ith bus voltage is equal to this one, the phase angle of the ith bus is equal to this one, real power is equal to this, reactive power is equal to this. We are not going to do all these things. Okay, suppose if we want to do the problems, we are going to conclude that problem at the end of first iteration or maximum at the end of second iteration. Okay, and you are asked to this repeat the same at the end of second iteration. What is the value of voltage at particular ith bus? What is the value of real power at the particular ith? So this is the information that you are going to find. Now I think just now I talked about the classification of buses. See, how do we classify the number of buses and what are the types of buses available in the power system network, right? Now, please see here. So with this, we are going to conclude today. Now, in power systems, obviously, there are three types of buses available. First one is generator bus, reference bus or slack bus. Reference bus or slack bus. Please carefully observe this: slack bus or swing bus. Right? See, out of the three buses, this is a very, very important bus, and this is the only one bus in any power system. Even though your power system is having n number of buses, but out of those n number of buses, you must consider one bus as a reference bus or slack bus or swing bus. That is the only bus available, only one and only one bus available in any power system, right? So second one is load bus. Third one is generator bus. See, even though you will have n number of buses have been connected, n number of buses in your power system are existing, out of those n buses, you must consider or you must select one bus as a reference bus or slack bus or swing bus. Later, I will explain why you need to consider that particular bus as a slack bus or swing bus or reference bus. And after that, so n number, if you are considering four buses, suppose let us consider an example, four buses. Out of these four buses, you are going to consider one bus as a reference bus or slack bus or swing bus. Now what are the how many buses that are left here? Only three buses, and these three buses are comes under either load bus or the combination of load bus and generator bus. Okay, so this is the importance of reference or slack bus or swing bus. Now, but at each and every bus, you will have certain information that is specified. That means what are the out of four? See, already four quantities that are specified at a particular bus. So V, delta, real power, reactive power. And out of those four, what are the specified parameters at a particular bus, and what are the unspecified parameters that you are going to find out by applying some techniques. Okay, so at a reference bus and slack bus, V and delta have been specified. Now these are known parameters, and P and Q are unknown parameters. Now load bus are, so P and V are specified, Q and delta you need to obtain by using proper technique. Now generator bus, so P and Q are specified, V and delta are unspecified. So out of the four parameters, so two parameters are specified for a particular bus, and you are asked to determine the unspecified parameters by using the four methods that we are going to discuss in later classes. Okay, so this is the information that you need to know before going to start with the load flow analysis or power flow analysis. Again, we are going to see the same types of buses, and what is reference bus and what is slack bus or what is swing bus, and what is a load bus and what is a generator bus, why we are going to consider those buses a load bus or generator bus, and how do we obtain all the parameters which are specified, and how do we determine the parameters which are not specified with the methods, right? So that's all for today. Do you have any doubts? Do you have any doubts? If you have any doubts, you please just raise your hand. See, I am requesting each and every one of you that if you face any difficulty, that means if my voice is not audible, or if you are not unable to see the contents, what I am going to share on my screen, just you put a message. Don't call or don't put a WhatsApp messages to my phone. Why? Because I'm connecting my phone to the laptop. Why? Because the college net is not stable sometimes. Okay. So you just raise your hand, or you just put a small message in the chat box so that I will be able to see your message, and I will let you know what is the problem that you are facing. Okay. Thank you all.